The biggest mistake that you can make, the biggest mistake that everybody makes when trying to persuade or seduce people, is to use logical sounding reasons why they should do what you want them to do. This is a bad idea for a few reasons. For one, when we think we're using logic, we're not really using logic. We're using our own subjective version of pseudo-logic. It's not strictly Aristotelian logic or Euclidean logic or the kind of logic you would learn in a formal logic class. In fact, if any average person took a formal logic class, it would be very, very difficult to not get an F, because that is very, very difficult subject. But a deeper reason is that even if you were using logic to solve a problem, to convince them of your solution, you have to have an acceptable, mutually beneficial outcome. You have to have the same outcome. If you're trying to solve a problem and you both agree on what the problem is and what the solution looks like, yes, then you can use logic. My logical reason to get our shared desire is better than your logical reason to get this shared desire. But in most persuasion and seduction conversations, both people have a different outcome. So using logic, even if you were using strictly traditional logic, it wouldn't work. But a much deeper reason is one that's very, very hard to accept for a lot of people. But if you can accept this deeper reason, if you can appreciate this deeper reason, then you are on the path to easy persuasion and easy seduction. And that deeper reason is that we don't make decisions rationally. We don't make decisions consciously. We make decisions subconsciously and emotionally. Tons of psychological research demonstrates this. Tons of neurological research demonstrates this. We make a decision emotionally, subconsciously. Then we give ourselves a rational sounding reason, a logical sounding reason why we did what we just did, or why we think we did what we just did. And because we believe that's the real reason, we believe the presupposition that we make, or we use logic to make all our decisions. So when it comes time to persuade other people, when it comes time to seduce other people, we are stuck in this incorrect mental idea that logic is used to make decisions, because we believe that when we make decisions. Now the question is, if logic or logical sounding reasons is such a poor way to persuade somebody, why do all the best salespeople on earth use this technique? Why is this our automatic go-to technique? It's very, very ineffective. Even the best salespeople in the world get a 5, maybe 10% conversion rate, which means they have a 90-95% failure rate. If this technique to persuade people, if using logic, or using what sounds like logic or what feels like logic to us subjectively, has such a huge failure rate, why does everybody use it? Why do the best salespeople in the world use what sounds like logic to try to persuade people? Well, back in the days of hunter-gatherers, where our brains evolved, the situation, the environment was much, much different than today. Back then, everybody did have shared outcomes. Everybody agreed on the outcome. Everybody wanted the same thing. Everybody wanted food. Everybody wanted safety. Everybody wanted shelter. Everybody wanted to keep the fire going. So solving these common problems where people had the same outcome, then logic or logical sounding reasons were more appropriate. But even deeper is all of our problems back then were external to us, and they were very, very mechanical. Mechanical things require logical step-by-step solutions. What's the best way to kill that woolly mammoth over there? Step 1, go this way. Step 2, go that way. Step 3, these guys sneaking over there. No, that's not the way. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this, etc. So we evolved a instinct to come up with logical sounding reasons to win the argument contest, to win the idea contest. Because whoever could come up with the best solutions, whoever could present the best solutions to other people, they rose up the hierarchy. hierarchy and they got more status. So this is kind of the prime directive of human communication, to convince other people that our ideas to get an outcome are better than their ideas to get an outcome. But that evolved in an environment where all of our problems were external and mechanical and required logical solutions because we all shared the same outcome. But today we have different outcomes and our decisions are emotional. When you're thinking about getting a car today or next week, that's an emotional decision. When you're thinking about getting a red car versus a blue car, that's an emotional decision. When you're trying to convince your friend to see movie X versus movie Y, that's an emotional decision. When a girl is deciding whether or not to give you her phone number, that's an emotional decision. And you can't move emotional decisions and decisions where people have different outcomes by using what sounds like logic. Luckily, there is a much better way, a much easier way, a much more effective way. And that is to simply respect the idea that we make decisions emotionally and build up their desire emotions. Build up their desire for whatever you want. But here's the thing. Desire emotions are very, very easily translatable, transferable. Studies have shown that when people are hungry, when they have a food desire, this subconscious food desire is easily translated into doing other things. For example, when people are hungry and they go online shopping, they buy way more stuff than when they're not hungry. So this desire for food is translated into a desire for whatever people buy online that's not food. This is exactly how the halo effect works. We see an attractive woman. We have a desire for this attractive woman, a subconscious desire for this attractive woman. And whatever's next to her, that automatically gets some of that desire attached to it. No logic needs to be used to convince us to like this, like we like this. It happens automatically. And the most important part is the desire content for what we desire initially doesn't have to have anything to do with the desire content of the decision you want them to make. The desire content of what you build the desire for initially doesn't have to have anything to do with the desire content of the decision you want them to make. We have a sexual desire, a romantic desire for an attractive woman. And if she's standing next to a car, we'll have that same desire energy attached to the car. Now, a car has nothing to do with sexual desire. When we're hungry, we're subconsciously craving food, and we go shopping online, the desire for food has nothing to do with what we want to buy or we end up buying online when we impulse shop. The desire for what we want initially doesn't have to have anything to do with the desire for what we do. Which means when you want to persuade somebody, when you want to influence somebody, when you want to seduce somebody, all you need to do is build up their desire for anything. A desire for their ideal house, a desire for their ideal relationship, a desire for their ideal job, a desire for their ideal career, a desire for their ideal vacation, a desire for their ideal car or whatever. Build up that desire as big as you can and then just stick your outcome in there. And just like the halo effect, they will make a connection automatically. You don't need to use any closing techniques. You don't need to use logic to close them. Just say, hey, what about this idea? And when you toss this idea out there, hey, this just popped into my head. It might not make any sense to you, but what do you think about X, Y, Z? And because they'll be in that big desire state, they'll essentially be seeing the world through this halo effect. You'll toss out X, Y, Z suggestion, and that will automatically get connected to their desire energy, and they will automatically desire XYZ. They will automatically desire XYZ. It's very, very easy. It's very, very powerful. If you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to practice this technique in a live seminar so you can become incredibly persuasive, so that you can become incredibly seductive, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.